Hi friends, this is Gail O'Neill, and I teach stamping. I hope you enjoy. So I'm going to do two different cards tonight. Hi Deb. Um, One I'm going to watercolor and one I'm going to do with the blends. And they're basically very similar. I'm using all the same stamps on those cards. So I would say they're almost the same. So let me get this where it's not going to fall on top of me. And one of the cards I'll show you later. This is the DSP that comes, let me see if there's, yeah, it shows it here on page 47. So there's two pages. One side it's the Argyle, and the other side you can color. And, you know, if you use your color pencils, I did it with the blends, and I'll show you the card, but you have to go very lightly or it's going to spread because this is a very thin paper. So I'm starting out with a piece of very vanilla, 5 by 3 3/4. And I'm going to use it, I'm going to stamp it with the Stamparatus so I can get a good inking, but I'm not sure I have it. I have to put something on that. I thought to, I think I had it about there. Let me mark it so if I have to go back, which is a neat trick when you're not putting it to the edge, is to just take a pencil and just make a little mark so that I can't see it with the pencil. Let's do it with a pen if I can find one, because I have a little piece of silicone here. So I'm going to mark it there, and I'm going to mark it there, and that'll wash off again. Okay, so yep, that's where I want it. So I'm going to move this up here to hold it. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, so we're going to ink it up. Of course, I have something under it. So I'm going to fix that. Oh, and there's my mask. That's pretty funny. It was stuck to it, a pen. So just to get that a little darker. Hi, Cheryl. Hi, Jackie, Melanie. So let's get that inked up. And I think I'll go ahead and do the inking on the one that I'm going to watercolor. And then I've got it done. So I basically want it in the same spot. So I am using the Gina K because you can do both. Use the alcohol ink and you can watercolor. Hi, Shannon. Hi, Catherine. Hi, Robin. So let's get a good inking. And the thing that's good about marking it is if you want to go back afterwards and then make your image darker again after you've colored, so then you know exactly where to put it with the Stamparatus, and you can do that. All right, so that looks good. So that's going to go over the side and dry for after. Okay, so let's take this little guy. And yes, I'm using the blends tonight. So I'm just going to take, where's my card? I like to look at my card when I'm doing it. Okay, so I'm going to take the light and dark crumb cake. What I did, like on his pants, I just totally just colored them right in with the light. And again, if you're using the regular weight paper, you know, you want to go fairly fast so that it's not spreading all over the place. And it dries very quickly. Okay, so then you can go back, and you can do it before or after, it doesn't matter. And you can just put in right where the artist did it for you some dark spots. Just a little bit of shading. And this would be his pocket. And then I took the soft suede and did his belt. And just lightly went across. There's one little spot there. Okay, the sea foam. So I did the same thing with the sea foam. And I'm going to do on this one the dark first, just to show you that you can. So I'm just going over, not, you know, not every spot, just quickly. And that's his arm, not, I mean, his shirt ends. When I did it the first time, I was just so happy. I just kept going. Okay, then I'm going to take the light and just color that in. Let me see, I can get a little closer. Then I can't see the screen because the camera's like right in my face. So we're going to just quickly color that. Hi, Karen, Sandra. And Sandra, I'm not sure, well, if you're Sandra or Sandra, but one of my dear friends is Sandra, spelled S-A-N. So I've gotten very used to that. And I have a sister that's Sandra, but she doesn't use that name at all. So I don't even like think of her when I see that name anymore. Okay. So we've got that. Now for his skin, I just take the light petal pink when I'm using the blends. So his one hand is skin, and the other one, did I take it out? Nope. He's wearing a golf glove. So I'm just going to do it gray. And then his hat, I'm going to do brown. And I'm going to use the light soft suede. And then a little bit more gray right there. And then on his shoes, I just threw in a little gray. Okay, so we're going to mask him. Yeah, where'd I put it? Over here. Gotta love it. Now, I cut him out with the die and did not trim around it, but you'll see how we get around that. So I'm just going to do the trees, and I'm doing them in Pear Pizzazz. So I'm just going to quickly stamp some trees. I always do these crooked for whatever reason. I didn't even need the mask because I went around him this time. Okay, so we're going to take that off. Now we're going to take and do our background. And I'm using Glycerin. So there's my glycerin. And I'm going to do seafoam. Okay, so you work the glycerin into your sponge, then pick up your color. So I'm not even concerned that he's not masked because I'm really not going heavy. And with the glycerin, you can kind of scoop in the spot you want. So I'm going to bring it up that way. Maybe under the trees a little bit there. And then we're going to go to some sky. Okay, not a lot of sky, just some. So I just want to clean the green off of this. And then we're going to use Balmy Blue. And I probably have enough on there, but what the heck. So you work in your glycerin. The glycerin makes it, it's vegetable glycerin, and it just makes it glide over your paper easier, so you're not getting, you know, all those, I'll call them sponge spots. But you can see how it just glides. So it makes it nice and smooth. Your colors blend, you know, a lot easier with it. So I've been using it for years. I also use it for watercoloring. Like I'll put down my markers and then pick it up with a blender pen, and I'll add extra glycerin because it spreads out your ink a little bit better. Okay, so the only other thing that I'm going to do to this is stamp a saying, and I'm going to remove this. Hopefully remember where I put it. Oh, I want him out a little bit. Okay, and we're going to do this one, and it's probably, oh, I know. So I can't find my sheet that I made that had beautiful lines on it. So I'm putting down just a clear piece of acetate, which works really just as well. And what you can do with that is when you go to do your greeting, and you can use a clear bag also. So now we're going to stamp directly. One, it's going to keep your project clean. But two, you're going to know whether it's straight, because sometimes you don't get that label on exactly, or the label doesn't match exactly. And I would say that's pretty good, at least from where I'm sitting. So I'm going to go with that. So you don't really move. I'm going to do it again just in case I just moved it, which I did. Okay, so I'm going to put that there. Let's do that again. It's still straight. Okay, I'm happy. Right, when you do all that coloring, like who wants to ruin their card? And a lot of times I forget to do this. I'm used to stamping and I just stamp and then go ruh-roh. Okay, so that one's done. So I'm going to stick that on a block, and I am going to use this again for the other one, I think. I might not. All right, so I'm going to mount this on black. Oh, and I have some tipsies coming, which means there's going to be some drawings during Sale-a-Bration. So I'll be giving away some cards, and I'll be giving away some more tipsies. Glycerin you can get in any pharmacy. Walmart, you can, like if you go into any of the craft stores, buy the baking supplies. But I know Walmart has it. I got mine actually on Amazon because I was giving little unicorn bottles to my customers, and so I bought a big bottle, but they have smaller bottles on Amazon. So there is card number 1, and I did get a little smudge of ink right there. So I'm going to try and fix that. Hopefully it's not too deep into it. Gorgeous. It's gone. Okay, so that was card number 1. So now we're going to do some watercoloring. So, guys stamped in the same place. I am taking my aqua. How did this get so like messy already? I am going to take, yeah, there it is. Okay, so we're going to take the Pear Pizzazz, and I'm going to squeeze it. I get confused between the old and the new. So I'm going to put a little bit of water right into my pad. And just do a wash. Okay, so we're going to take blue Night of Navy, and what other color did I use? Old Olive. Old Olive. So keep a little rag by you, so when you're changing colors, you can just squeeze out a little water and clean it off, either a rag or a paper towel. So I'm going to do his shirt blue, and you're just quickly coloring, but with water and some ink. Now, if you want your darker spots, just get it. I didn't even re-squeeze this one, but you can pick up here. Let me squeeze it, and then from there you can move it. Hi, Pat. So if you want to make like his collar a little bit darker, so you're going to use just a little bit less water and grab some of that color. And then wherever there's the shadows. And I think we got enough. Okay, so I'm going to clean off my brush and I'm going to do his pants. You know what, this time I think I'm going to do them brown. So let me grab soft suede. That's nice and clean in there. So you give it a good squeeze. And then just give it a good wash. And you can keep picking up more color as you need it. You can do your shading and then pull, but you have to have a little more control of the water on your brush. So I like just kind of putting it in, put that color in, and then go back. But these have so much definition by itself because of what the artist put in that really you don't have to do a lot. So I'm just grabbing some of the darker color and just putting it in a few spots. Okay, so for the belt, I'm going to grab some markers. Okay, so we've got that. What color do I want to do the hat? I'll do the hat brown as well. So I'm changing the colors from my other one. Just a little bit. So now he looks like the UPS man. Yay! Okay. So we're going to do a little skin tone. And I'm going to grab, that's Blushing Bride. That's also Blushing Bride. Petal Pink. All right, so I'm going to put a little bit on the edge of a block because it's right here. And I'm going to make sure my other color is off. And I'm going to pick up some of that color. So that's if you don't want it too dark. You can also go in on those darker spots and put some ink down. There's a little fuzzball on the end. And then pull it out. You can also add, if you want it darker, you could add some crumb cake, like mix that on a block. If you don't want it as, you know, pink. But I just think it, you know, works out pretty well. You can go direct and then kind of spread it. Okay, then we're going to grab a gray for his glove. Yeah, gray granite. We'll do that one. And I think I'll just, like where it's dark, I'm going to add some color and then pull it out. Now that it's wet, I think I'm going to, this is a very light color, so I'm just going to, I'm barely touching it. I'm just letting this, the marker, absorb into where I just placed some water. So basically he is done. I'm just going to do the same thing on his bottom and the side of his shoes. So, brush side. So I'm just lightly, hardly touching it and letting that color absorb into where I wet it. Okay. So now for the trees, I'm going to do, I am going to do Foamy Clover and make them more of a bright color. So remember, this is watercolor paper. So I'm going to take and ink it up and then give it a little spritz. I hope it's not too much. You can also do this. Look what I just did. You can also do this with your marker. Which I think I'm going to do and just leave what water is on there. Oh, I keep grabbing the wrong ends of these. So there is still some water on there. So I'm just pushing it around. Let's hope there's enough. So now if you do it that way, you get less of a watercolor, but we kind of want it to look the same. So I'm going to ink it up the way I did before and give it a little squirt off camera from further away. Oops. I meant to move that way, not turn that way. Okay. Maybe I can get a little bit more definition in those since I really watered them. And you can. It's still a little wet, but you can go back and just get a little bit more definition. All right, so I'm gonna let that dry a little bit, move some of these away. And then we're gonna go back in. Where did I put it? Oh. Okay, so I'm gonna go in with the Old Olive lightly, which is gonna be close to what it was with the Pear Pizzazz because I'm watering it down. Oops. I don't want to go under it. I want to go on top of it. So if you go quickly, and around what you've already done, this is like the quick, you don't want to be exact version. Otherwise, you have to kind of mask, let things, dry. If you're pulling out a little bit of the green, it doesn't matter because grass is always going to be a different color in different spots. You can make some lighter and darker spots. Let's get between his legs. And then where he's standing, of course, that's going to be a little bit darker. But you don't have to be, exact. Not everything has to be totally filled in to have it look nice. All right. I just want to get a little bit more green in there. And if you stamped with the same color trees, you wouldn't even have to worry about it at all. But of course I didn't. So let me get a little bit more water. Now you can also, if if you really wanted to, you could do some of this with alcohol instead of water, and it wouldn't smear hardly anything, unless it's like still really, really wet. But you could like dry it in between. And I'm going to let these get a little bit more watercolored. I kind of should have left that tree out. So I'm going to make him go bye-bye. Which you can also do if you, or it'll be like really, really in the background. So if you add more water, you can then soak it up. So if you worked on that a little bit more, it would be gone a little bit more. Be gone. Be gone. But you get the idea. So we'll go in little spots. Too much water. Too much water for that little spot. Okay. So other than stamping my set of trees tilted, I like the way that came out. What do you think? Right? Thanks, Sandra. Sandra. I forgot to look and see if you answered me before. Okay, so now, where's my little cut pieces? So I've got some Call Me Clover for the background, and this was 5 by 3 3/4. So it's still a little damp, and the water does kind of warp the paper. So I'm going to use some tear and tape. And I do have that in one of my holders from Crafters Solutions. And if you haven't checked out their Etsy store, you really should. Because now this sits up here like my own little tape dispenser. I love it. And one in the middle for good luck. All right, so you just want to push it down and then peel them off. Okay, so let's put that down there. So that straightened that out. So now we can use glue for the other part. And then I'll show you what I did. I bought a product that I'm not so crazy about. So where's the little pieces? All right, so I took this piece right here, but on my other card, I use this 3D collal. So first of all, it's very hard to squeeze. Second of all, I'll show you the card. So anybody that has hand problems like me, you're not going to like it. But it's clear, and I suppose it's good for raising something up, but I thought I'd be able to raise this piece up, but the glue really got like in a lot of places. And you can still see it even though, you know, it dries clear. So I'm going to put it down like I normally do. with regular glue. So that stuff to me was a fail if I was being a tester for it. Especially if you have bad hands. It's some thick stuff. Okay, so I'm going to put that right there, not raised. And then I'm going to take that, and I forget which set I borrowed that out of, but you made my day. So I'm going to do that in, not the Call Me, yeah, maybe I'll do it in the Call Me Clover. And I did cut 2 of these just in case. I got to pull it closer to me, guys. Bear with me. Okay. And then I'm just going to take the Call Me Clover marker. I could just use my finger. I have so much ink on me. And I'm just going to go, whoa. You should always do that from the back. So I have a little, okay. Yeah, you can't even see it. And then I'm going to take this and put that down flat as well. And there is card number 2 watercolored. So let me bring that in, but let me bring the other cards that I did. Okay, first was a quickie, and this week I have an order coming in, so I have the proper folder that goes with this set, but this was just a quickie, so you can take the paper and use some dies and make a quick card for somebody. Then there's this one, and with the dies I use the silver foil paper and the happy birthday dies. I did 2 layers, and then I did some coloring on the golf ball. And then this was the paper, so the DSP coloring that. So it was definitely easy, you know, to do that. No stamping, just a little coloring. So let me see if I can get these down so I'll have a good picture of it. My camera's so different now. I might have to just do a picture. And thank you everybody for joining me tonight. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. And I'll be back on Wednesday with, you know, my motto. I don't know what, but it'll be something. See you then. Thanks everybody. Good night.